Hi, today I'm going to talk about the power of eye contact with children. Many of us feel that eye contact is not important or it is not the thing in communication. You're wrong. Eye contacts are really very important in order to guide children the way they grow, because when we speak to the children, when you look at them and you tell them, you actually make them understand and you know whether they are listening to you or they're not. Because when you look at their eyes, if it's like, they don't want to look at you, they look there, they look up, they look down, that means they don't want to listen to you. So if you get them to look into your eyes, tell them, look into my eyes, and then you tell them, can you go and keep this toy, or can you do something? By looking into their eyes and get them to look at you back, you get things done. It works similarly even with adults. Since I'm talking about this, I would like to share a story with you. When I was training back in sometime in 2000, I was training a group of teachers, and I was telling these teachers that the power of eye contact, how you can actually tell your children as well as your spouse by getting them to look at your eyes when they are telling you something. And this particular lady, she came back and she told me that how it worked, because usually her husband does not look into her eyes and doesn't tell things by looking at her. He always says that, oh, I'm going to this shop to have a drink with my friends or whatsoever, and he doesn't look at her. So what it means, he may not go to that shop, but he might be doing something else. So she started telling him as well as the children that from now on we look at each other's eyes when we talk. So what happened from then on, she realized that the husband did not tell her something otherwise. He always told her the right thing, because when he looked into her eyes, he could not lie anymore. So she came back and shared this with me. Giving eye contacts to children, it is really very important, and it is actually a good social skill that you can teach right from young. How it works throughout their life is, you see, even in NLP, eye pattern is really very important. We can actually determine, or you have a better communication model by looking at the eye of the person that you are talking to. So since the eye pattern is so important, let's start that with young children. So today I'm going to just share with you 3 ideas how to get children to give you the eye contact. Number 1, the eye contact. I just printed out some of this to show that the eye contacts. And remember the story that I was talking to you about? So this is the kind of eye contact, you don't give eye contact and you can just tell any story. Okay, number 1, you can play a game. You can put something, a visual card or a picture card or a word on your forehead, and get them to read it. So when they come, when they look at your forehead or looking to your eyes, they will then start beginning to look at your eyes when they are talking to you. That's number 1. Number 2, you can actually play the staring game. This is a game that we used to play when we were young. Staring, and see who can hold on to the stare the longest by not even winking the eye. Yeah, you can play that game. And the other thing that you can do, you can play mirroring games. You have to look at me and you have to see what am I doing, and then what kind of facial expression that I'm doing, and you're supposed to mirror me. You're supposed to do the same thing as I did. So that's mirroring game. So just to recall, there are 3 games that you can play with children in order for them to give you good eye contact. Number one, placing visual cards in your forehead. Number two, mirroring game. And number three is holding on the staring game. Yeah, so these three games you can play with the children to teach them eye contact. And one more thing, you have to keep up to whatever you are doing. If let's say you are telling your child that look at my eyes when I'm talking to you, you have to do that. Parents are the best role models to the children. If you don't do that, and you can't expect children to do it. And again, there's another story that I want to share. When I was when my youngest girl was about 4 years old, and I used to tell her to give eye contact when she speaks to me. So there was one time I was cooking and she comes and asks me something, and I replied her without looking into her eyes because I was cooking. And there she goes, she tells me, can you look at my eyes when you're talking to me? And that was like, oh my God, she actually said that to me. So remember, if you practice something with your children, in return tell you when you are not doing that, giving it back to them. All right, good luck, happy parenting.